Hello. A quick overview of my series of knives. I decided to make this series 1 week, one knife, and I used pretty much every one of these, with small exceptions. I didn't go for the Mora Eldris. I didn't use the. I, I used the Victorinox but not that extensively, with the Gerber Crucial and this small Opinel. Uh, the time I used the Eldris was with when I was trying the GI Tanto for a week, because yeah, it's a large blade. Overall, my collection, it's pretty much budget knives. The SRK, it's not mine. I have to give it back in the next few days. It belongs to a friend of mine. Probably the most expensive knife that I have is the Mora Garbark, and with the most premium steel. It's 14C28. But overall, I'm pretty happy with the experience that I had in the last few weeks. That gave me a pretty good chance to appreciate most of the blades I have, and to realize which one I really want to use in future. Um I don't think to sell or get rid of any of the knives that I don't use, because anyway, they're pretty cheap on price. So second hand, probably second most expensive is the at the moment is the Condor Bush Lore. But as I mentioned in my Condor video, the 1 week I used it, I bought it for 25 pounds and now goes over 50, 60 pounds. So yeah, after the Garbark, that's the most expensive. But pretty much I gravitate around smaller blades, and the reason for that, it's um, they're compact, lightweight, very easy to use, very good control of the blade. Um, and I realized that when I start using these two for a week, for a longer period, it's not that long, but when you have this experience to change the blade very often, and you have all of these knives, and you can any moment you can use this one and try other blades. It gives you a real perspective of how the tool handles, and how reliable, not only reliable, but how easy it is to use. On the only knife that it's not here is the Gerber Moment, because that's another knife that it doesn't belong to me, and I gave it back to that friend of mine. But pretty much I was disappointed, but by that knife, the Gerber Moment, because you can see my video. Uh, it's just the finger guard and the shape. It was awkwardly shaped diagonally, and pretty much doesn't give you that, and the triangular shape of the handle just keeps your finger slightly far from the cutting edge, and that gives you just not that much control, and for the finer tasks. And pretty much when you're trying to use the very beginning of the edge, your finger is quite far behind, and the top of your hand can go forward, but because of the diagonally shaped handle, it's a bit awkward, and just the triangular shape, it's just not the perfect shape for the blade. And this small Mora, it pretty much has a lot better shape that the Gerber Moment. And of course, this is all my opinion and my experience. Probably there are people who like and enjoy the Gerber moment. Nothing bad about that. If you feel that that's your knife, go for it. Again, this is just my opinion, my take on the knives. And of course, using a small knife with a shorter blade, you cannot use the advantages of the bigger knives and use it as one tool option to chop and baton with the knife. You can baton with the Garberg. I batoned with my Mora 2000, of course. I batoned a reasonable size of wood. I'm not gonna go with the same size of wood to split and to baton this with the same size wood that I can go for with GI Tanto. This pretty much it's a tank of a knife, and I'm very confident, and I know that I'm not gonna damage the blade by any mean, and that's why I always have with me axe. I have also a tomahawk, Cold Steel Trail Hawk, that it's lighter than this one, and if you want to go light, you can go with smaller blade. So that's why I'm not worried about the chopping capabilities of the knife. And yeah, just the Gerber was my biggest disappointment of this batch of knives, and my biggest surprise was this Mora Pro S. I have it since last summer. A friend of mine, he used to work in Sweden, and I asked him to bring me a Mora, and he brought me this one as a gift. And pretty much I didn't use it. I used it sometimes, but I was thinking that the finger guard will be in the way. It's not going to be that comfortable to work with, but actually it is a pretty good, comfortable knife, and the finger guards, sometimes, very rarely, it's in the way, but it's not that bad as the Gerber moment, and it's very lightweight. I think 2 millimeters of thickness. Slicing capabilities are awesome. Very, very nice knife. My all-time favorite Mora 2000. I can say only good things about it. Just a great knife. The 510, also carbon steel. These two are the only carbon steel blades, and this one, of course. But these are the two that I use the most, and it's true that they're really nice and easy to sharpen, to maintain an edge. Not that these are difficult, but they take slightly more time. The Eldris, it's a funky, nice little knife that I use occasionally, but every time I use this one, I have it with me, I stumble on tasks that require a larger blade, and yeah, that's why probably this one will do a lot better than the Eldris. But it's really nice little knife for a emergency kit or something like that. It will do the job. With the folding knives, let's start with the Buck 110. Really nice knife, excellent. I love it, and I haven't used it that much since I started using, because that was the first knife that I used, and this week I used it a few times, and I really miss this knife, and I go back to it. Really nice knife, lightweight, plastic handle. The other knife, next one, is the Opinel. Nice blade, very nice slicer, but the only downside is the plastic handle, the wooden handle. When it's when you wash it up and it gets wet, it keeps the blade of operating nice and smoothly. I solved this problem, but now it is just every time you have to keep it wet very often to maintain the smoothness. And just after some woodworking, just the lock, it's getting loose. But for the price, Tanquit, you can go wrong with it. Victorinox Forester and the Work Champ. Ever since I tried the Work Champ for a week, I had it for a year. I didn't use it that much, but ever since I tried it for a week, it become my EDC knife, and I have get used to it with the size, and feels very nice in the pocket. Slightly better than my other EDC, the Victorinox Spirit X, Swiss Tool Spirit X. Larger blade in your pocket, and all the tools, pretty much I use all the tools pretty much daily. Small pliers, I pair it with small pliers with when I'm at work. I have full-size pliers in my bag that sits in the van, and if I so far I never needed to use the pliers, the full-size pliers. So far I have handled the tasks with the small pliers. The scissors I use very often, the file, the wood saw occasionally, but the metal file I use it very often. Just my nails are breaking, and the edges, corners of my nails are breaking, and it's I just trim them with the scissors and um, file them with the metal file. And the other tools, yeah, I made a modification. I drill a hole for the pen, and I have this pin as well over here. But yeah, after a few more months I'll do separate video follow up on how the knife performs. And the Forester is pretty much the same knife, smaller size with less tools. It's all up to you what you prefer. If you don't need the other tools, it's excellent knife. Next one is the Cold Steel Kudu, also great knife. It's pretty comparable with the Buck 110. The only downside that I found, and it's the thickness of the handle. For EDC and for a long period of woodworking, carving, and finer tasks, it's not that comfortable in the hand because it's pretty thin. But if you want to have it in your pocket, very lightweight, just the size is quite big. I think recently they released a smaller version of this one that it's more compact. Also goes around 10 to 15 pounds. The next one is the World War II knife. Just bought it because I wanted to have it in my collection, and I used it for a week. It's not that comfortable, unfortunately. It's nice looking, but and the blade steel, I think it's 440 or 420, something like that, budget steel. But for 10 pounds, it's a really nice take on the classic military knife. And these few over here, the Gerber Crucial now in the summertime, when I don't wear my working trousers. Probably I'll have this in my pocket. It's a lot lighter than the Victorinox, and in the same time you can do some tasks, just smaller size. That's, like I said, it's my other EDC. If I don't have my Work Champ in my pocket, I have the Victorinox Swiss Tool Spirit X, and I have this one in my bag with me for a larger blade. And I need a toothpick. I use it all the time, and the lack of toothpick on this one, I can feel it, and it's been many times that I have only this one in my pocket and I need to toothpick. I know many people don't use it, they lose them, but I use it. So, and this Handyman, smaller version of the Work Champ, it's also pretty nice blade, nice tool. If I go to bigger cities, to London, Bristol, or just in big city. I just have this one with me because it's UK friendly, and I know that I'm not gonna have problems with that knife. And in the same time, I made a lock for it. I have a video on it that goes just a metal piece that goes over here and locks the blade. If you're interested, check it out. And just to go back quickly, that's one of the main reasons for a larger blade in UK, that they're just that's the only legal knife in UK, and this one as well, these two. And yeah, that's the main reason that I really avoid using my GI Tanto, because it's pretty huge knife, and the shape design, it looks dangerous. I enjoy it when I use it just to chop and just trash on the knife. I like to do that from time to time, and that's why I go with smaller blades. At least for me, they're, like I said, more comfortable, easy to use. So that's it, guys. I hope again that video was useful. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'll be happy to answer, and I'll see you in the next one.